They have stopped calling it England versus Argentina. On social media, it has a new name, England versus FIFA. And after the fortnight of officiating this tournament has just produced, it is very hard to argue with that. Wednesday night in Atlanta, the most suspiciously fortunate team in this entire tournament runs headfirst into the one opponent that might simply be far too big to quietly script around. Every single whistle in this match is going to be interrogated like evidence in a trial. Every marginal call dissected frame by frame by a global audience that is already primed, already suspicious, and already waiting with the screenshots ready. But this match is bigger than the VAR debate, bigger than the refereeing pattern, bigger than Messi himself. This is the most anticipated and most controversial fixture in 60 years of the most loaded rivalry in world football. Let's get into it. It starts with Messi against Algeria in the group stage. Studs raked across the opposing captain's calf in the 32nd minute. No card on the field. VAR reviews. Clears it. ESPN's own analyst calls it 100% a red card live on air. Algeria's federation files an official complaint with FIFA's refereeing commission. One decision, one complaint. The pattern begins. Round of 16. Argentina versus Egypt. Egypt leading. A brilliant Egyptian goal is rewound and disallowed for a foul traced 20 seconds earlier on the other side of the pitch entirely. Then, late in the same match, two Egyptian penalty appeals go unchecked by VAR in quick succession. Argentina score in the 93rd minute to complete a 3-2 comeback. Egypt file a formal complaint. Their striker Mustafa Zico says it on the record, in front of the cameras. It was a rigged game. Quarterfinal. Switzerland have just equalized. Score level at 1-1 in the 72nd minute, the game completely open. Then VAR intervenes using the new mistaken identity protocol, determines that Breel Embolo went to ground before contact to earn his yellow card, converts it to a second yellow, and sends him off in tears. Switzerland play the rest of the match with 10 men. Argentina win 3-1 in extra time. Switzerland's coach says it plainly afterward. The 50-50 calls seem to favor Argentina. And here is the detail that cuts through all of it. Even Scaloni himself could not deny it. After the Switzerland match, Argentina's own head coach admitted publicly, "Luck was on our side today." That is the reality. When the coach of the benefiting team is acknowledging fortune in a post-match press conference, the pattern has reached a point where dismissing it as outside noise becomes impossible. Cape Verde, Egypt, Switzerland, 3 knockout opponents, 3 matches decided at moments where a whistle or a screen leaned one way. Now the opponent is England, and 15,000 of their supporters are already in the country. The theory consuming the internet is simple. FIFA wants Messi in the final. A governing body expecting to bank nearly $9 billion from this tournament, run by a president who invited Messi's Inter Miami, a club that did not even qualify, to the Club World Cup, has a rooting interest in the greatest player alive reaching one last showpiece. Nobody has produced a smoking gun, but the officiating pattern stacked on top of the money and the institutional affection has made many people stop believing in coincidence. But here is the counter-argument. England are not spotless heroes walking in to slay a cheat. In their quarterfinal against Norway, Bellingham's equalizer came moments after the ball appeared to clip an overhead camera cable, a contact that should have stopped play entirely. FIFA's censor said no contact. The goal stood. Norway went home furious. Tuchel himself admitted his side were lucky. England rode their own controversy straight into this semifinal, and here is the point that cuts hardest. Every single Argentina decision that provoked outrage was, by the actual letter of the law, defensible. Embolo really did go to ground before contact. The Egyptian build-up foul was technically reviewable, however far from goal it occurred. Messi's challenge was fast and ambiguous in real time. Technically correct but deeply unfair is not the same thing as rigged. The most honest version of this story is not simply good against evil. It is far more likely FIFA's chronic incompetence and a genuine institutional crush on the Messi story than a literal plot to fix a scoreline. There is no proof of a fix. There is only a governing body that has burned its own credibility so completely it no longer earns the benefit of the doubt on anything. Which means the question that matters on Wednesday is not whether FIFA is corrupt. It is whether England are good enough to make it irrelevant. Thomas Tuchel has become only the fourth manager in history to take England to a World Cup semi-final after Alf Ramsey, Bobby Robson, and Gareth Southgate. He has done it with a side built around two of the form players of the entire tournament. Harry Kane and Jude Bellingham both sit on 6 goals through 6 games, a tally bettered among the surviving teams only by Messi himself. The shape of England's attack is almost custom-built to exploit Argentina's specific weaknesses. Kane drops deep off the front, pulling Argentina's backline into decisions it does not want to make, creating space in behind for runners arriving late. Then England hit them with rotating pace across the flanks. Saka, Gordon, Madueke, Rashford, fresh legs cycled in every game. And through the center, Bellingham arrives late into the box like a missile. Because this Argentina defense is beatable. Visibly, obviously, repeatedly beatable. Cape Verde carved through them. Egypt scored a goal of the tournament contender in the same fixture. Switzerland found the space behind their backline over and over. Scaloni himself has admitted his side can barely string 5 or 6 passes together right now. They give up leads for fun. They are exhausted, dragged into extra time twice, and a last gasp escape once. 3 brutal knockout marathons in a row, while their 37-year-old talisman runs increasingly on fumes. Messi failed to score against Switzerland. The first time in 10 consecutive World Cup matches, he has drawn a blank. If England press that tired, leaking defense from the first whistle with their energy, their pace, and their depth, they have more than enough quality to win this cleanly and decisively. England do not need the script to break. They have the tools to break it themselves. The only real question is whether they have the nerve to use them in an Atlanta cauldron, against a team that keeps finding a way when nobody believes they should. For all the exhaustion, for all the defensive fragility, for all the questions swirling around how they have actually reached this stage, Argentina are the most ice-cold, most experienced team left in this competition. When a match is hanging by a thread, nothing phases them. They have lost their fluency entirely and kept on winning anyway, because they possess the two things that cannot be coached and cannot be bought: Lionel Messi and a squad that can conjure a decisive moment out of absolutely nothing. The evidence is already in the knockout rounds. Julian Alvarez's 25-yard howitzer against Switzerland, Enzo Fernandez's header to sink Egypt. When the game is level and the tension is completely unbearable, someone in blue and white produces something unrepeatable. Messi may be 37 years old, running on fumes, drawing blanks against deeper defenses, but he remains the most dangerous player alive in the final third. Give him a yard and he will punish it, every single time. Then there is the emotion powering them. An entire nation chasing La Ultima de Leo, Messi's last dance. He is facing England for the very first time in his career, having missed their only recent meeting through suspension. He told reporters simply, "I have never had the chance to play against England. They have demanded and been granted their lucky away kit, the same one worn when they beat England in 1986 and again in 1998. They believe in the Kabbalah, the superstition. They believe the football gods owe Messi one more final night. Argentina's plan is the same as it has been in every single knockout match at this tournament. Slow it, absorb, frustrate. Wait for the one moment that changes everything. They have done it 3 times in a row already. Never bet against a team that just keeps winning ugly. And never, ever, under any circumstances, bet against Messi when the entire world is watching. Even without the VAR subplot, even without the officiating controversy, even without the FIFA theory that has consumed the internet for a fortnight, this would still be the biggest match of the summer, because the history between these two teams is soaked in drama, unlike almost anything else in sport. This is the 6th time England and Argentina have met at a World Cup, the first ever at the semi-final stage, their first meeting of any kind in over 20 years. It is the rivalry of 1986. Maradona at the Azteca. The hand of God and the goal of the century in the same afternoon, 4 years after the Falklands War, gave every subsequent fixture a darker, sharper edge. Maradona later wrote he preferred the handball to the brilliant goal because it was, in his words, a bit like stealing the wallet of the English. It is the rivalry of Beckham's red card in 1998 and his redemption penalty in 2002. Nearly 6 decades of enmity stitched into every single meeting. The shadow of the Falklands never leaves this fixture. The 1982 war lasted 74 days and killed more than 900 people. It is why 1986 felt like revenge to an entire generation. After beating Switzerland, Argentina's dressing room was filmed singing a chant referencing the Malvinas, vowing to win it for Messi's last dance. Their fans have sung all tournament, "He who does not jump is an Englishman." 15,000 England supporters are already in the country. Authorities in Georgia are bracing and waiting for the winner, a World Cup final at MetLife Stadium on July 19th against either France or Spain. For England, a first final since 1966. For Argentina, one more step toward letting Messi walk away as a back-to-back world champion. One controversial call in Atlanta on Wednesday does not just decide a football match, it decides which of two nations gets a shot at forever. So, here is where everything lands. Either England are good enough and big enough to break the script clean in half, to beat Argentina so decisively that no whistle could rescue them, and silence every single conspiracy theory with 90 minutes of pure football in Atlanta, or the whole planet watches the pattern survive one more round against the most watched opponent of all, and the accusations against FIFA go completely nuclear in a way this tournament cannot contain and cannot recover from. There is no quiet outcome here, no result that does not mean something enormous. For the football, for the history, for 60 years of rivalry stitched into this fixture, and for the credibility of the sport itself. Do you think England break the curse, or does the magic and maybe a little help drag Argentina to one more final? Lock in your prediction below, subscribe, and stay close.